The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. Listener discretion advised, mostly because of me. Today would have been the 79th birthday of Karen Silkwood. As you may recall, Karen Silkwood's case was not only very prominent in the time of whistleblowers, she was one of the first, but also spun into an Academy Award nominated film and has been one of the biggest unsolved mysteries, I believe, in true crime history.
I would agree with that.
So 2024, late last year, was the 50th anniversary of Karen Silkwood's death. She was killed. She was murdered.
Yes.
50 years ago. She was on Oklahoma State Highway 74, jumped in her little 1973 white Honda Civic, left the Hub Cafe in Crescent, Oklahoma. She was on her way to meet a New York Times reporter to turn over documents that would have been extremely damaging to the Kerr McGee Corporation.
Yes.
Problem is, she never made it. She was 28. Somewhere on Highway 74, her car ran off the road, and Karen Silkwood died as a result of her injuries. Also, in that wreck, she was carrying the documents in her passenger seat, and when the authorities and tow truck came to recover the vehicle, no papers were found, no documents.
And they called this a single car accident for the longest time. They still stand by that story, but I am of the opinion, as are millions of others, that this was no accident.
It wasn't an accident.
No, there's no way.
She was murdered.
I agree.
And if you'll indulge me for a couple more minutes, listeners, I would appreciate it, because I'm really about to jump into this. So, because it was the 50th anniversary late last year, ABC News decided as a money grab to work on a documentary called What Happened to Karen Silkwood, The Lost Tapes. And Disney jumped on board and decided to release on the Hulu streaming service the Academy Award nominated movie Silkwood, which, to my knowledge, had not been available for streaming anywhere.
No, that yet another mystery. That movie is hard to find, is putting it very mildly. I mean, we've looked and looked and looked over the course of years, and you can't find that movie. You can't find it on DVD. You can't find it streaming. It's
we've gone to resale shops and dollar stores looking for it on VHS. We haven't had. When was the last time you had a VHS machine? VCR?
Probably about the same time as we had dial-up.
So, the Lost Tapes from ABC News comes out. What Happened to Karen Silkwood? Surprisingly, that is still available on Hulu to stream at this point. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it eventually goes away. So if you haven't seen it on Hulu, I do recommend watching it.
Jump on it while you can.
Yeah, because they Hulu allowed the movie to stream for roughly 3 months. I think we heard about it.
That was lightning in a bottle.
Maybe it hit at the end of October 1st of November last year, and it was on for about 3 months, and they've already taken it off. So the content was interesting, but a lot of it was the same stuff that we've heard about Karen Silkwood. Now, what interested me about the documentary, and this is where I'm about to get riled up, so I'm going to try to keep my composure about this, because I'm going to make a statement during this podcast that maybe a lot of people have thought and never said, maybe a lot of people have said and never been heard.
You're very passionate about this case, and I appreciate that about you.
So, again, as the story goes, she was traveling Highway 74 out of Crescent. She was 28 years old. Working for Kerr McGee, ran off the road. She was murdered. And I'm going to say that over and over again. She was murdered. She was on her way to meet David Burnham, who was a reporter for the New York Times at the time. Mr. Burnham tragically passed away in 2024. I know he did some interviews before his death about the Karen Silkwood case, because he was supposed to be the one that she was meeting up with to turn over the documents. In the What Happened to Karen Silkwood, again available on Hulu, there's an interesting piece from a former Oklahoma Highway Patrol lieutenant named Larry Dellinger.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Dellinger, let me give you a little background on Larry first of all. Larry Dellinger was one of the people that was at ground zero on the Oklahoma City bombing. Saved a lot of lives. He also was an investigator on the state prosecution of the bombers involved in the Oklahoma City bombing. So we're not talking about a patrolman who's just driving around issuing speeding tickets, giving...
You are talking about a seasoned vet that has seen some hard things.
You're talking about someone who's very well respected.
Yes.
He says in the documentary that 4 off-duty officers, who are now all deceased, were instructed to tail Karen Silkwood, and the night that she left the Hub Cafe in Crescent, they had been drinking and were following her down Highway 74.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, he has also said that he has given these names of these 4 officers to the FBI and the OSBI, which is the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. These names have been given, and nothing has come of it. Not a thing.
Nothing. Why?
I'll tell you who could change that. We've got a development at the OSBI that's been brewing for quite some time. The current director of the OSBI is a woman by the name of Angela Spurlock. And she has been under criticism, under fire, since about the minute her ass hit the seat at OSBI. She's retiring in March. If Director Spurlock, and I know you're listening, if you're not listening right now, you will be listening. If Director Spurlock wants to give the big double bird to everybody on her way out of the OSBI, even to the Oklahoma City Police Department, who also has these names and has done fuck all about it, Director Spurlock has the golden opportunity to do what I've thought for years and now is confirmed by this former Oklahoma Highway Patrol Lieutenant, Larry Dellinger, who says he knows the 4 people that were tailing Karen Silkwood and most likely are responsible for her murder. Director Spurlock, get off your ass and open this case back up. You've got nothing to lose.
Nothing.
You're literally about to retire in March. Do you really want to go out with a whisper?
No. No. Go out with a bang. Vindicate Karen. Please vindicate Karen. Get some justice and closure for her family. Blast these names. Blast them.
And open an investigation into the Oklahoma City Police Department too.
Yes.
Why not?
These are the people that are supposed to protect and serve.
Right. Director Spurlock has a golden opportunity to solve a crime that is now over 50 years old.
She has a duty.
Well, apparently she doesn't have Hulu. So, Director Angela Spurlock, and if you're from Disney and you're listening to this, this is off the record. This is between Director Spurlock and the two of us. Director Spurlock, I don't know what the salary is for the director of the OSBI. I would assume that it's more than the two of us make combined, but I don't know that. If you can't afford Hulu and you need a password to go watch the ABC documentary, What Happened to Karen Silkwood, just shoot us an email and I will gladly share our email and password, and you can go watch this. And then you can hear Larry Dellinger's comments and you can do your fucking job.
I was going to say we could actually invite her over for dinner, but I feel like that could go south real quick.
It won't go south if she'll just watch. If she'll watch and listen to what we listen to. We are at no level of a person who has ascended to the ranks of the director of the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. All she has to do is listen to what he says. He's got the names. There are 3 things happening right now. And Mr. Dellinger, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't. You say you've turned over the names. I've looked into your background. I believe you. I believe you. I want that on record. I believe you. But you did not disclose those names on the documentary on Hulu. So to me, in my mind, and jump in at any point if I'm off base, in my mind, there's 3 things happening. Either you're holding on to those names for a book deal, you were instructed by ABC News not to give those names, or you just flat out did not want to put those names out in the public because of the impact it could have on those families. I want to believe the third one. I want to believe that it was out of respect, especially for somebody with the character that I've read about him. I want to believe that it was out of respect for the family. But God, is there no respect for the Silkwood family? If you have the names of the officers that allegedly, and I have to say that even though I believe him, allegedly tailed Karen Silkwood the night that she was forced off the road and murdered, you have a duty to release those names. You may have very well given those to the FBI and the OSBI. It didn't work. That doesn't mean you stop.
No. Now, is he in fear? Is he living in fear? For his own safety.
I'm sure
for that of his family.
I'm sure he is. If you watch the documentary, they called people that were directly involved with Karen Silkwood and her family. And those people said, I can't talk to you. Why? Why can't you? Because I promised. Well, you know what else? You promised Karen Silkwood. You promised Karen Silkwood, and she deserves better. And that family deserves better.
She's got children that grew up without her.
But you want to hold on to a promise. Or let me ask this. For anybody in that area that declined to comment on that documentary, did you make a promise to Karen Silkwood? Or did you make a monetary agreement with Kerr McGee?
Two very different things.
I'd like those answers. Karen Silkwood was murdered. There is someone in very good standing that knows the 4 people that were most likely responsible for Karen Silkwood's death. It is time to release those names. It is time for an investigation. It is time for someone at the Oklahoma City Police Department to go, this has been long enough. It is time for Director Spurlock to give the double bird on her way out of the OSBI office and open up an investigation. It's time for somebody to do something.
I couldn't think of a better birthday present for Karen today.
I can't either. Somebody needs to do something. Do you have any final thoughts?
That's so much to say. This goes so deep. But this one really needs to be put to bed. Karen deserves this. Her family deserves this. This has gone on too long, and people need to stop sitting on their hands and their information and let Karen rest in peace and give her the vindication and the closure her family needs.
Mr. Dellinger, if you're out there, it's time. Put those names out there. Director Spurlock, it's time. Reopen the investigation, do whatever you need to do, and get this closed. It is time. For more information about The Last Clue, to provide tips or show ideas, please contact us at info@smithmediateamllc.com or visit our website at smithmediateam.com.